Obviously, we grieve for the family and everything, but this is not a new situation.
It's not, and it's horrible. We've had a number of mass shootings this year. I don't think the answer is more laws. We've got hundreds, maybe thousands of gun control laws on the books. I don't think we need more gun control. What we need, obviously, in my opinion, is more idiot control. But I don't know how to control people who are sick or they're just evil in a free country as big as the United States of America, over 300 million people. You can just do the best you can, but as long as we have a Second Amendment, you're going to have idiots that abuse it.
It seems to me, though, there was a case in Michigan not too long ago where parents were held accountable for what the child did. I have no idea what this 14-year-old is like or whatever. Yeah. I do know that the shooting, at least the reports for the attempted assassination of former President Trump, as well as the man who was actually murdered in July, is that he certainly had strange behavior beforehand. And I cannot believe when you've got, that some of the strange behavior isn't noted ahead of time, and that, why people aren't reporting it or why we aren't doing something. Because, it's never like, a normal person. At best, they say right away, well, he seemed like a nice kid. But when you dig deeper, there are some red flags.
Well, you're right. And when we look back with 2020 hindsight, in many cases, the people who perpetuate these crimes, you say, well, it should have been obvious. But, as 2020 hindsight, all I can tell you is that there are a large swath of my colleagues in Washington, D.C., who think the answer is to get rid of the Second Amendment. They would solve drunk driving by getting rid of all sober drivers. And I don't think the Second Amendment allows that. And again, we can pass more laws, but we've got plenty of laws. I don't think we've got a gun control problem. It's an idiot control problem.
Well, in the 1980s, I will say this, when I did criminal defense work, Washington, D.C. had the toughest gun control laws in the country at the time. I know it's not that way now, but for $15, you can get a gun, you can go across the river, the Potomac. I mean, it's not like, it's sort of too late. We have so many guns. But now let me turn to another topic, is the what's coming out of Iran and Russia, the interference into our election. How in the world do we control that problem?
It's nothing new. Russia has for years tried to interfere in our elections. So has China, so has Iran, so has North Korea. Probably 20 or 30 other countries do as well. The reason that the Justice Department is highlighting China, in my opinion, is in part because they hope to perpetuate a subtext that somehow Russia's interfering on behalf of Trump. The Democrats have been doing this for the last 8 years. I don't think the interference by these foreign countries has that much of an effect. The internet's a big place. I trust people to make up their own minds about their own information. Some of my colleagues in Washington don't.
You know what I think would be somewhat helpful, and I guess the blame, I would direct this comment to the Vice President, Kamala Harris, is if we can hear directly from candidates rather than sort of the blather that we get on the internet. Yeah. She should do more interviews. I think the debate is going to be extremely important because the candidates are going to have to answer questions. But instead of having these vias, instead of letting the internet spread stuff, give us access so that we can talk to you. Give us interviews so that it sort of drowns out the noise, the false noise.
Well, it would certainly result in people having to interpret less. Right now, one of the biggest guessing games in the United States of America, for those plugged into the election, Greta, is what's the vice president's position? Nobody knows. I think I do. I've served with her for 7.5 years. The vice president, I don't hate anybody. I certainly don't hate our vice president. But she is she was in the Senate and she has been a vice president of the San Francisco Democrat. When she served, I served with her in the Senate. She was easily the most left-wing member of the Senate, and I think she'll govern accordingly.